Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live or post a new video, like I'm going live now. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as you go along. If you really like it, and don't forget to share it afterwards with your friends. I'm really pleased about how this channel's progressing. I'm getting more and more subscribers, so that's fantastic news, and that's all down to you. So I wanted to start this video off saying thank you so very much for the huge support I've had on this channel. I really appreciate it. I love you from the bottom of my heart. So what's happening in this video? Well, in this video I'm going to be talking to you about how to make a connection with others. Now this can be both friendship, how to make a connection with others. Now this can be both friendship, business, or for a potential asexual relationship or other type of relationship. So first of all, I want to start off by saying I've connected to two brilliant individuals recently. So this is through Facebook. So obviously you can connect to people who are online, and some of which you might meet offline. So don't underestimate or devalue the relationships you have with people online, because obviously it is still possible that you could meet some of those people in real life. Having said that, don't give you all your time to people online and devalue relationships in person and be so scared of going out of your home or feel so like in your shell that you can't actually meet other people in real life, as it were, offline. So, you know, you don't want to be doing either of those. You want to have a nice balance. The connecting to people is all about, you know, taking chances, taking risks, putting yourself out there, putting yourself forward, and just going for it. You know, if you get rejected, that's okay. If you get someone who turns out to not be so nice, that's okay. You just block them from your life. You know, you speak to them, have a word with them, or if they're being totally inappropriate, you block them from your life, you know. But the thing is, you have to put yourself out there in the first place. You know, it is always risky, but life's a risk. Even like living's a risk day in, day out, you know. We're on this planet. We don't know what's going to happen to us from one minute to the next. So anything's a risk. But obviously, if you're making friends online, it can be less of a risk in some ways, but more of a risk because obviously you're online and open to exposure. So, you know, there's pros and cons with everything. So last night I connected with a beautiful individual, Denzel, I think his name is, yep. And basically, I can look at my phone actually, because I've got my phone here, and he has got cerebral palsy. So I want to make sure I got his name right. So I connected to him last night. He sent me a friend's request actually, and it was really nice. So I'm just looking for him on here. Yeah, Denzel. And he's got a YouTube channel, and he's friends with some people I'm friends with on Facebook, some entrepreneur friends, and he calls himself a motivational speaker and has been speaking on his YouTube channel for 5 years, he told me. And we were messaging via voice message for a bit, and then he just, you know, went for the video chat, and we just had a really nice video chat. He is in a wheelchair, you know, and his speech is a little bit like slurry in a way because of his cerebral palsy, but he is an amazing guy, and I was just so happy to connect with him. And he was so grateful that I spent some time with him out of my late morning. It was like nearly 2 a.m. He was so happy I took some time out for him to listen to him, to talk to him, and he's truly beautiful. I mean, his face is gorgeous. He's foreign, beautiful looking, and his personality is really nice. Like on his YouTube channel, he's encouraging other people to go for their dreams, go for their ambitions. You can do it. And, you know, it's amazing. I just love it. And when I was sat there talking to him on video chat, he was saying this stuff to me. You know, and he said I could be sat here feeling sorry for myself or, you know, giving up on life, but I'm not. I'm, you know, like, I believe he believes he's going to be a motivational speaker on stage one day, and I really hope he gets to do that, because I think he deserves it. And I think people do deserve breaks in life, and I think people, you know, do deserve the happiness, you know, that they spread to other people. I think it's really nice. I mean, he spreads the happiness to a lot of people. He said, oh, people who meet me fall in love with me straight away because of my attitude, and it's so important to have a good attitude, even in times of adversity, even when things are not going quite right. It's really, really important. And then I connected to an entrepreneur woman today whose video I saw. She's an NLP practitioner, which is a neuro-linguistic practitioner. And basically, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. Sorry, NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. It basically, you change your behavior and your life by reprogramming your mind. I've used some of these techniques before. I did a course with the Coaching Academy to be a life coach. I did that for a weekend, and I learned NLP then, and that's what helped me to stop being in abusive relationships, because I trained my brain to be happy being single. I'm genuinely happy being single now, even though I'm on the lookout for an asexual partner. I'm genuinely happy being single and on my own. In fact, I love it. A lot of the time, I'm just so ecstatic to be that way, you know? I absolutely adore it. So, also connecting with this woman brought amazing opportunities, because she has said that she was like wanting more quirkiness in her business. And then she said, and I popped up and I'm the queen of quirky. And she did a live stream on her Facebook page. It's got loads of people watching it. And the great thing is she was really talking about me loads, but she was talking about what I do, and that that I'm different. I talk about asexuality, that I help asexuals, and for people to go and, follow me or friend me or whatever. It's really, really good. And so I'm spreading the awareness of asexuality. And she said she loves a person that stands out as different and breaks the rules and conventions, which is me all over, So I think that's going to be a really good friendship. Hey, Martin, lovely to see you. I didn't say hello to you on the other video live stream the other day. That's because I saw you afterwards pop up and say hey, but I didn't actually see you on the video at the time. I think maybe I was just busy talking, so it's really nice to see you. I was just reflecting on the 2 connections I've made so far. One was last night with a guy with, early hours of this morning, I should say, like 2 a.m, where just before 2 a.m, was a guy with cerebral palsy. This is through Facebook. He is really inspirational what he does on his YouTube channel, because he inspires others to go for their dreams and things like that, and he's going for his dreams. And we video chatted last night, and the early hours of this morning. That was really amazing. And I talked about a woman entrepreneur who I watched her videos. She's a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, which means you use your mind to change the way you think, reprogram it. So she did a video, and that was on one of my friends' page, and I shared it. And then I tried to connect with her as a friend. As soon as I did, she said she couldn't believe it. She checked out my profile and saw that I was quirky, and that's exactly what she wants in her business. She was just talking to her marketing person about it. So obviously I might be able to help her out a bit there. But yeah, so she loves quirkiness, and she was doing this live stream, and she was talking about me throughout quite a lot of it. And she was talking about asexuality and what I do. She goes, Sandra helps asexual. She talks about asexuality. She's different. She breaks the rules and conventions. She gets the word out about asexuality. She's really bigging it up. And so I was so happy, because she's very influential. She's been in Forbes magazine. If you're ever into business, or even just Google FORBES magazine, you'll know that it's a really top entrepreneurial business magazine that loads of thousands of people read throughout the whole of the world. And so, this is really good. The more people I connect to, the more I can get asexuality better known throughout the globe. That's my mission, after all, is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. That is my mission in life, and I will forever stand by that and keep, promoting the fact that asexuality is awesome, and the fact there is a sexual orientation which is asexuality and what it's about. So the second part of this video, which probably applies to you quite a bit, Martin, actually, is how to connect with other people. So first of all, you need to understand why you want to connect with someone. If you don't understand why you want to connect with someone, then it's a bit pointless. It's not really going to go anywhere. It's going to fizzle out quite quickly. It's not going to be very beneficial to you or the other person. So you need to know your why. In other words, why do you want to connect with someone? Do you want to connect with someone for friendship, to be an acquaintance with them, for a business venture, or just for a business connection and see if anything else comes of it later? Or do you want to connect with someone for a possible relationship? Obviously, over time, the reasons for your connection to this person could change. They could turn out to be amazing, and you might have thought they're just going to be acquaintance, someone to chat to like once a month or whatever. But then you realise, oh, this person's really amazing. I've looked more into them and I want to chat to them more. So then you might become more friends, deeper connection, that type of thing. Or you might equally find someone really attractive, think they've got a lot of things in common with you. You might chat to them and realise they're not actually that nice a person. And you might not even want to be friends with them in the end at all. So, you need to know your why. You need to have an objective, really. I mean, sometimes you can just do this subconsciously. Like, I connect with people on Facebook, but I tend to do it with some sort of purpose the majority of the time. If it's asexuals, I don't accept every single asexual to be my friend, but I accept quite a few, but not everyone, especially if they're not talking to me via private message. It's kind of like, I don't accept all them, because it's like, well, if you're not going to speak to me, why are we even going to be connected as friends on here? But others I do accept, because it is asexuals and I do want to help asexuals out, and then I have a lot of other people that connect and I don't know who the heck they are. Some of them are friends of friends, but then they're not speaking to me, so I kind of have a bit of a purpose for connecting with many people. It's if I've known them somewhere, or I think I can help them even just with my posts. Like, if they see me talking about asexuality, I think it helps them to feel better out themselves if they're asexual, and especially with someone who's so open and honest on their Facebook page like me. I mean, my Facebook page is public, so anyone who comes on and leaves a comment, that you're kind of saying it to the world, but you're saying it through me, and there's no shame in that, and it's like you can be comfortable in your own skin on my personal profile. I kind of like, I want it, I've always had it not private, because I'm in the business world and I want people to see what I'm doing. And also, I want to spread awareness of asexuality, but I don't have my comments. People aren't allowed to comment, though. They're only allowed to like if they're not friends with me. They can't comment. And, anyone who's being rude, I just block them. So they can't see any of my posts or talk to me or anything to do with me. So I do still have, obviously, those cautions. But yeah, so you've got to know why you want to connect with someone in the first place, and your objective for doing so. It might just be like, I just want to connect. I just want to make more connections in general, which is fine. It's still a reason, So that's why, obviously you might connect because you want to make in-person friends. Now, if you're connecting to making in-person friends, again, you've got to think, ask yourself questions like, okay, so how many friends do you want? Why do you want friends? Is it because you feel lonely? Or is it because you just want to expand your circle of friends? Is it because you're feeling needy? In which case that relationship might not be so good for you, because you need to work on yourself and your own self-esteem first. Or is it because you just think, it's good for me to have more friends? It's healthy for me to have more friends. So again, you've got to think of the reason why. And, how are you going to do that? Are you going to do it through just talking to people randomly in the supermarket, in the street? Or are you going to be a bit more structured about it? Are you going to, for example, go to meetup.com, which is a site that's online that you can use to meet different types of people, like different groups of people, so different hobbies and interests. So you might find someone that's into spirituality on there. You might find someone who's into just meeting up for coffee. They've got a coffee group. You might find someone's got a book club. So you can look for people in your area on meetup.com. If there are any in your area, in your interest, you can look it up there, and you can join a group and then meet people who've never met in person before. I went to a business event like that. It's really interesting. So you can do that, you can find local or further afield. Again, you need to think, why are you doing it, because if you haven't got intention, you've got no direction, you're going to lose motivation for connecting with people. You're not going to bother. And then once you have connected with people, you need to obviously maintain that connection in some way. If it's just Facebook friends and they're acquaintances, you might not speak to them that much, but you might just have them on your Facebook. Like, say you knew someone from school and you got back in touch, but you've changed a lot for example, over the years, but it's someone you still want to be connected to because you feel something for them, as in a sense of like, they were nice when I met them at school, and I do still want to know their whereabouts in case I ever want to meet up with them. You might just want to, keep them as an acquaintance like that. But, you might bump into someone in the city or something just randomly, and, you've known them from school, and then you might want to connect, but you still might want to get to know that person more. You might just think, I want to have them around because, I wondered what happened to that person. I do care a little bit about them. Do you see what I mean? So you need to work out why you want to connect with them, and like, how are you going to connect with them, like online or offline? And then, you need to then think about what you're going to be talking about with them. So you need to try and find things in common. So basically, if you are, if you're approaching someone, for example, in a dating group, take an asexual dating group, for example, or asexual dating site, right? If it's an asexual dating group, you can be looking at what they post. So like in my groups, for example, I do theme days, which means that I ask a question around a theme, or I'll just ask questions in general. And then when the person answers, you can look at their answers. So say you are a gamer, because I know you're a gamer, Martin, and you're looking for other gamers, then you would purposely read people's comments. And when they said they were gaming, you think, if you could be friends with that person, or maybe you're aesthetically attracted to them and want to know them more because you think about them as a potential, girlfriend, or, if you're a guy watching this who's into guys, then boyfriend, So, you can do things like that. And connection, having the best type of connections is ones that you have in common with people. So if you have hobbies, interests, values, beliefs, those are the things that are going to forge a deeper connection between you and that person, and spending time with them and talking to them a lot and communicating with them a lot. The more we communicate with someone, the more we get involved in their life, the more we deepen that connection with them. The less we connect with those people, as in the less we maintain that connection, the less we talk to them, the less we're in that person's life, the more we go away from that connection. You can feel a soulmate connection, and you can still be connected as a soulmate to someone who's across the globe from you. But you need to have that strong, deep emotional bond in the first place. And the way you get that is through a lot of communication, a lot of talking, messaging, video chatting, spending time with that person. You're not going to ever be able to emotionally connect with someone if you don't spend a lot of time with them. You might be able to... I say that, but there are certain people who can emotionally connect with people very quickly. I was thinking, well, that's not totally true, Sandra, because you can emotionally connect with people quickly. I can emotionally connect with people quickly. So how come I can do it and not everyone can? So there are other people like me that can emotionally connect with someone. If you want to instantly emotionally connect with someone, don't forget you still have to maintain that connection, though, to be deeply emotionally bonded to someone, which is slightly different. So the way I can emotionally connect with someone is, again, if I'm empathetic with the person, if I'm sympathetic with the person, if I'm very open and vulnerable myself. So if I tell someone secrets about myself and they're new in my life, they will feel comfortable around me, like they can trust me, and then they're more likely to open up themselves about their feelings and their emotions. Do you see where I'm coming from? But but obviously if the other person is closed, they're closed off, and they're not giving anything away, you're not going to be able to bond so much with that person. You're going to get the feeling of distance from them. So, for example, the guy last night who's got cerebral palsy, who I spoke to, we were voice chatting for just a few voice chats, and we were both very vulnerable and open with each other and very caring people. I can tell that I can emotionally connect with him quite easily. I wouldn't say it's a deep emotional connection, but it is not a superficial connection. It was a good connection, because we're both very open, very vulnerable, but in a strong way. So you can be vulnerable, but in a strong way. So you can know that if anyone, you can be open and honest, but if anyone's coming in and going to hurt you, then you can protect yourself. You can say no to that person being on your life. You can block them if you want. You can still be a strong person no matter what they say. Obviously, it takes courage to do this, but you kind of have to do it in life if you want to progress and become a better version of yourself, a stronger version. The best relationships are the ones where you are vulnerable with each other. If you're caged off and keeping your heart close to yourself and not opening up, you can't really let the love fully into you, and you can't let the light and, you can't let that soulmate bond. So you can have a relationship with lots of people or just one person, and you can have a deep friendship or a really good friendship or deep love, but you can have this soulmate connection which takes it to another level entirely. And a soulmate connection is where you really look into each other's eyes and you're really open and honest. You don't have secrets between each other. You can be blunt, open and honest with each other without fear of the other person hurting you or or being nasty to you. Obviously not everything's going to be perfect, so that you might get a reaction occasionally that you don't want. You might put yourself on the line, you might tell this person something that happened to you and they might have a bad reaction to it. You can't guarantee everything because everyone is human in nature. If they've got their own problems and issues and you trigger something off from them, then that might still cause a reaction in them that you weren't banking on because you've been vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you have to do it with intention, and you have to do it from a place of power and strength, not weakness. So you have to do it knowing that the other person doesn't have to reciprocate it back, and that the other person, that it's not impossible that they're not going to attack you or anything. But you have to be so strong and confident in yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Obviously, when it happens, you could go into a meltdown. I've had the situation where I'm really confident, comfortable and strong. Some people there's no problem. I can just, if someone turns out to be horrible, I can just block them, not speak to them, get them out of my life. Other people, might really hurt me. They might really hurt me, but it doesn't stop me connecting with other people because not everyone's like that person. I can't hold the whole of the world to ransom and don't speak to them and open my heart up to them just because I had one or two or a few people who, have been horrible, who have crushed my vulnerability, who have been nasty to me. I can't let that happen. Sometimes it takes a while to heal. Sometimes you just get over it. So, you can't guarantee, but you've got to go from a place of strength within yourself. And there's a lot of asexuals that, they want emotional connection. That's how we love. And some of them need that for a relationship. Now, if you have followed me on my channel recently, there was a couple of guys I connected with on ASAP. One of them said he wasn't heterosexual, but then he said he got confused. So he actually had a girlfriend and he hasn't spoke to me since. And then there's another person who lives not too far from me in a city, about an hour and a half on the train. And he has been 2 years in the UK and he's foreign. Now, I've been talking to him, messaging him, but I already can feel from him that I can't get a deep emotional connection with him because he's closed off to me. He's all right chatting like a mate, but he's closed off. So, I like foreign guys. I want a relationship with a foreign guy. He's not Indian, right? He's Spanish, but he's like an hour and a half from my city. Now, to find a foreign asexual guy that close to my city is quite rare. So I was thinking maybe I could meet up with him, and I even suggested that. But I was asking him a question about himself, but I am already feeling that he's not that interested in me. So the guy with cerebral palsy last night, right, we've connected as a friend, right? I have instant connection with him, right? It's more of an emotional connection straight away because he's been his vulnerable self. He's got cerebral palsy. He's putting himself out there. He's friends with me. He didn't know what I was going to say. He voice messaged me and some of it was like blurry at the beginning, so I didn't quite get it. Then he sent me the YouTube, so I listened to that. Then I understand what he was doing. Communication's more difficult with him. He is in a specialised wheelchair. But, and then we end up video chatting. And he loved it. His face lit up. He was excited. I think he's always like that anyway, because I think he's that type of guy. But I think obviously you have to be the type of person who's receptive to that and appreciates that and is kind to him, which is what I was being. And he wanted to talk to me again. He's like, oh, can we talk then? Can we talk then? So he wants to talk to me next Tuesday, which, he is more enthusiastic about speaking to me, and he lives in Chicago, than the guy on ASAP who's asexual, who actually has an asexual girl, me, an hour and a half from him. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of, the world's kind of crazy. That guy in America, he's disabled. He's got cerebral palsy. He's being really strong in his life. He's trying to motivate and help others. He's got a really can-do attitude, brilliant attitude, really caring. I can connect with him because he's being vulnerable, open, honest. I know he likes me. I can tell that straight away. And he's been fabulously him. You know, the guy on ASAP, it's difficult to talk to him. He's hard going, to be honest, a little bit, because it's not like he's asking me that many questions about myself. So that's the thing when you're connecting with someone. The way you are connected with someone and stay connected. Hi, Heather. Nice to see you. The way you connect with someone and stay connected is by asking them questions about themselves. Now, one of the things I find that's quite hard with asexuals, even in my asexual friends group, people don't know how to make friends and they don't know how to sustain it. But you have to both be speaking to each other. If you connect as Facebook friends, that's all good and well and fine. But if you want to maintain a friendship, you have to be in regular contact. Like Heather, I see Heather on here all the time, nearly every night on YouTube. So we're like YouTube friends. That's amazing. I'm really happy about that. Martin, I speak to you maybe not so often as I used to, but you know, it's nice when you come on my channel. It's really good. And then I have Michael, who usually joins me as well. So I've got regular people that I'm in contact with that, you know, that I feel like connected to, even though I may not be super, super close in some ways. I feel like I'm close online friends with them, if that makes sense, in the YouTube space, which I'm quite happy for, you know. So, and I find them very honest, open people. And so that's why. So in order to make a connection, like say you're in a dating group and you really like someone in that dating group and you want to get to know them better, you have to talk to them, like backwards and forwards communication a lot, and you have to take interest in them and you have to feel whether they're interested in you. Like I can tell the guys that aren't that interested in me because when they speak to me, they aren't asking me a load of questions about myself. The people that ask you questions about yourself are the ones that genuinely want to get to know you because they like you a lot. Maybe they like you as a friend, or maybe they like you more than a friend. If they're in a dating group, they're probably going to like you more than a friend. If they're just in the friends group, then they're probably going to like you more as a friend. However, you know, the best type of relationships start with friendships first. So you have to be willing to be friends with someone a lot first. Now, this guy, there was a guy I told you who I was just speaking about, who lives not far from my city, who's like an hour and a half away. And I was talking to on ASAP. He was one of those confused guys that I thought may not be asexual. So I said, why are you on here if you're not asexual, if you're heterosexual? You see, and at first he wasn't denying. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. That's really helpful. At first he wasn't denying that he was heterosexual. So with him, I specifically used the sales technique. So I've been in retail sales for absolute years of my life. And there's a technique where you can use a presumptive technique. So basically you can assume something and say something to someone and they need to correct you on it. And if they correct you on it, then you know that, that's what they truly are. So this guy actually did correct me because he was avoiding the question, which still made me question. But I said to him, like, he did say he was asexual actually. So yeah, so he came back and said, right, he said, he asked me why I like because he's Spanish, he asked me why I like Spanish music. English music is much better. So I thought that's quite funny. He's put, well, I'm asexual. I've tried sex, but I didn't like it. I'm more interested in romantic relationships. So that's what he said to me yesterday. So I said I like British music, but I also like foreign music. I like foreign guys too, romantically and in other ways, but not sexually. I have foreign friends and also had foreign boyfriends in the past, which is true. I don't know if you know that I've had 3 foreign boyfriends in the past. They didn't last very long though, actually. And I put, that is cool. I am asexual, hetero, that is cool. Like he's asexual, that's cool. I'm asexual, heteromantic, so just attracted to guys. One day I hope to find just one guy for a serious asexual relationship. I am a monogamous asexual. I am a bit different to many asexuals though, because I am into a lot of kissing, but with my clothes on. So are you attracted to females or males? Are you polyamorous or monogamous? So that's another thing you've got to remember, that if you're connecting with someone, remember I said at the beginning of this section of the video that you've got to know why you're connecting with someone. Like I connected with this guy because he was foreign in the UK. I was hoping he was asexual, but he didn't quite look like he might be because he said confused and, his relationship type he wasn't really saying about. And so I connected with him the possibility that he might be asexual. He's foreign, he might like me, and he's not that far away. An hour and a half is not that far for 2 asexuals to be near each other if they liked each other. But I don't think he likes me at all romantically because, like I said, with connection, in order to get connection, you have to both be having backwards and forwards dialogue, taking an interest in the other person. And clearly I'm feeling that I'm interested in him more than he's interested in me. So I've asked him questions about himself, like, you've got to understand that if you are looking for a relationship, you've got to find out if they're monogamous or polyamorous. Polyamorous meaning they want a relationship with more than one person. So it's really important to know that, because just because I'm on a, just because I'm monogamous, it's sometimes easy to forget that there are other people that aren't like me, and some of them aren't looking for a serious relationship. So he wrote back, I'm attracted to females, and I'm monogamous as long as I feel something deep for another person. So that was a very weird answer, I thought. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, either you're in a relationship and monogamous or you're not monogamous. It shouldn't be to do with the fact whether you've got to feel something deep for another person. If you don't feel something deep for another person, then don't be in a relationship in the first place, would be my advice about that. But it's like, as you, I love kissing, hugging and physical contact, but not sexual. It's enough difficult to get an asexual couple, but we will get. So do you see what I mean? That last bit says to me that he's not interested in me as a potential relationship, because he's talking like in the third person. So when you connect with someone, you've got your why as to why you're connecting with them, and they will have their own why as to why they are connecting back with you, or if they're connecting with you first, as to why they're connecting. But your why might not be the same as their why. It's when both whys tally up together that you have the most amazing connections with people. So, so I know that guy last night who had cerebral palsy, he was also connecting with me because he wanted me to help him get to be a speaker in the UK, which I said that, I talk about asexuality. It's not the same thing as what you talk about. And, I don't really know anyone that specifically put you on stage. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I could never help him out if I was in a position to, but, I'm not in that position to at the moment. So I had to tell him straight, So you do have to be, you have to think of other people's needs as well. So if you're talking to someone, for example, with mental health difficulties, it's good if they let you know that. Because, for example, I have an asexual friend who's coming to my meetup actually this weekend. And he has some mental health difficulties. And at one point, he actually, in the very, very beginning of my online friendship with him, he was on Avon, that's how we met, asexuality.org. And then he stopped talking to me on Facebook. I think he defriended me. And I was really upset about it, I have to say, because he was the one who approached me saying, I missed the last meetup, I'd love to go to another one. And I was really upset about it, actually, because I thought, have I done something to offend him? Because I'm quite outspoken sometimes, And I said something and I wasn't sure if it offended him. But I found out that it wasn't anything to do with me. It was his own problem. So I'm really sorry. Sometimes I do that. I think he defriended me. I can't remember. But he's friends with me again anyway. He friended me back again when he understood. I said, most of my friends don't do that. I said, if they've got any problems, they won't just stop speaking to me. They will actually say to me, look, I'm having a bad time at the moment. I can't talk to you for a while. So if he's ever having a bad time, like depression or something is really bad with him, he will do that with me now. So it requires, in order to have a really good friendship and connection, it requires a lot of open communication. That's what I'm saying, an ongoing communication and dialogue, Obviously, people have busy lives. You might not be able to get back to someone. I mean, I have lots of private messages from people. I have emails and all sorts, and I can't, I've got 2 outstanding emails that I have to reply to. And I need to really do it before the asexual meetup. And I've got my guinea pigs going in for surgery on Thursday. I've got meetup stuff from Friday. And so, this week's just flying by already. It's going to be full on. But there's 2 emails, but they're long emails from guys. And I do actually love that, That is true communication and connection, because these guys are going out of their way to share their feelings and emotions and thoughts with me. And, and I feel close to those guys in the sense that, they're sharing their life with me. And, when they take all the time to write those lovely, beautiful emails to me, I feel I need to take the time to write them good emails back. And sometimes it isn't always that I can do it. But I think they understand, because they know I'm quite busy with everything I do, I've got to also maintain other things like my health, like my chest isn't, you can hear my voice is still a bit croaky. I'm not 100% better still, I'm still croaky. So, I've also got to look after my own health as well. So you have to manage your communication with people as well, and your connection. So connection, like I've said with other people, is about a lot of the time about communication. But you've also got to manage a very important connection. And the most important connection you'll ever have is with yourself, your soul and your heart. So when you connect with others, That's one thing. And this video is about connecting with others, how to connect with others. But in order to connect better with others, you have to connect better with yourself, right? You have to know yourself. You have to understand yourself. And once you understand yourself, you will understand why you are forging connections with other people. And therefore, you can forge better connections because you'll know your why. You'll know your purpose of connecting with someone. You know, if it's your purpose is just for them to say, validate you. So some people, I'm not saying anyone who's watching this channel right now is doing this, but I'm saying some people use connecting to people as a validation for themselves, or just to spew out all their own problems and not even listen to or talk to anyone about their own problem, their other person's problem. So I was connected to a person online for over 2 years, and I've been helping them out. And, you know, I don't expect them to go helping me out with my life. However, you know, sometimes, the majority of the time, that person didn't even ask me how I was, you know, and it's kind of like, and I've told the person now I don't want to hear anymore, because the continuation of what they're saying to me is actually making my health bad, because it's kind of quite negative all the time. You know, maintain that connection with a person for over 2 years because I thought it was in their best interest. But sometimes it's in the person's best interest that you have to let them go, because if you've done all you can for them, giving you the most amazing advice you can give them, and they're still not listening, or they're not trying it, or it's not working, you know, because they don't believe in it, or it's not really what they want to do, then that's fine. You have to leave their life. Maybe it's temporarily, maybe it's for good, you know. So you've got to, you know, make sure that the connection with yourself is amazing. You've got to love yourself and your soul, and you've got to understand your own being in a fundamental core level. You know, lots of people, they don't want to spend time with themselves. They don't want to sit doing things that just give them pleasure and they enjoy. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. You know, because they're so busy like with outward stuff, they forget to look inward. But unless you understand yourself, unless you're strong in yourself, and unless you understand your imperfections, excuse me, I need water, then, you know, you're not going to have such good connections with other people. So it's really important to understand yourself very well and connect with yourself better in order to connect with others. I mean, and then, you know, with some connections, you might think, where can we meet? So you might meet someone online. You might want to meet them offline. Like, I would highly recommend that you video chat with anyone that you're going to meet offline first, because you don't know who they are. If you've only met them online, they could be completely different in person. You know, some people, for example, on asexual dating sites, they put pictures of themselves, and it's 5 years difference. Some of them put it's like 10 years difference, and all right, some people might look very similar to what they did 5 years ago, so, you know, not much different. Great. But then you get the other people that look completely different, and you're like, what the heck? And they're like hiding themselves. So you've got to be very careful about that. But whatever you do, make sure you meet another person in a public place. It's very, very important, you know. But just don't underestimate and undervalue your online friendships, but don't put your in-person friendships at risk because of them, because there's nothing more important than connecting with people in an offline world. You know, it's really important because you can feel that person, you can feel their energy, their vibration, you can feel the warmthness being just in their company. You don't have to physically touch them, you don't have to do anything like that. Just being in their company is amazing, you know, and it can give you a great sense of satisfaction. Now, this guy here, who I just mentioned on ASAP, right? You know, who I said clearly I don't think's interested in me. Like, he's put, as long as I feel something deep for another person. Now, either he's really not interested in me, which I think is the case, but if he was interested in me, I agree, Sandra. Oh, thanks, Heather. If he was interested in me, do you know what I mean? He's going completely the wrong way about getting a deep emotional connection with me, or even someone else. Do you know what I mean? I would say he's not interested in me, because if he's saying it's difficult enough to get an asexual couple, what we will get. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Lovely to see you. if he's putting that about we will get, like I said, that's third person. When someone talks in third person, it's like you're having a general conversation with commonalities and they're connecting with you in that way, but their goal and their why is very different to yours. I would say his goal is just to chat to me, and possibly he won't carry on talking to me. Like, if I don't keep talking to him, I don't think he'll keep talking to me. And that's, that's really not going to go anywhere. I think that's a shame. But then I've just got to think it's a shame for him, because maybe he doesn't really realise how difficult it is to find other asexuals, even as friends, or maybe he doesn't really realise how difficult it is to find an asexual that might be compatible with him, because obviously he's foreign and he likes some of the same stuff as me, kissing and hugging, but maybe he doesn't understand that. Some people, they won't want to change their lives, they don't want to travel, they don't want to go out their way for someone, they don't want to do that. There's another asexual guy on an asexual dating site, and I met him, I talked to him, and he lives in the UK, and he's foreign, but he made it clear in the end that he wasn't interested in me, and he would rather be in his city, keep having to break up with girls, but get with them in the first place because he wants a girlfriend, but he breaks up with them, admittedly, because he can't be with them because they want sex in the end. So all he keeps doing is this cycle of being with a woman in his city, being in a relationship with her, splitting up, and this is how his life goes. But he said he's happier doing that because he wants someone in his city. He's not happy, but he'd rather do that because it's someone in his city and he doesn't want to venture out. And I'm tending to get the vibe that maybe this guy's like that. I don't know. But obviously when he's saying, oh, I'm monogamous if I feel a deep connection with someone, it kind of means that maybe he's just going around speaking to multiple people, which he probably is doing, and being polyamorous until he actually wants to make a commitment. That's probably what he's doing. I don't know if he does that. But I just think it's very weirdly worded. I've asked him some more questions, but do you know what I mean? When you're connecting to people, if people aren't going to start asking you questions about yourself and keep the conversation going and not take an interest in what you do and carry on. He's taken an interest because he looked at my website, say he likes my t-shirts, but that's kind of like pretty much, and he asked about Exeter, like where I live and my city, where I hold meetups and stuff. He's like, oh, what's it like there? Is it worth going to visit? And I said, yeah, it is. You'd like it here. But that's pretty much it. So I can't really see it going anywhere, which I just think is a bit of a shame. But then I've got to think, well, it's good because it means he's not the right guy for me and I can move on. But yeah, so when you connect with someone, don't be like thinking that you're not going to be disappointed with the connection. So you can connect with people and maybe they won't turn out to have the same why as you. Maybe they won't turn out to have the same sort of connection back with you that you wanted to have with them. So you've got to be prepared to expect some rejection sometimes, be prepared to change your connections, be prepared to think this isn't working out. But if you are a person that's, for example, needs an strong emotional bond, so if you're for example, if you're a demi-romantic and you need a strong emotional connection in order to feel romantic attraction and be in a romantic relationship, or if you're a demisexual, for example, who needs a strong emotional bond before you can feel sexual attraction, you want to feel that, you want to be in a relationship with someone like that, then, my best advice would be to you is that you need to be picking, someone who you're really, really keen on. Like maybe you like them a lot as a friend, maybe you feel some deep friendship for them. Maybe you've got to that stage, but you need to be spending a lot of time with that person. First of all, you have to find out if they're interested back. I mean, if the person's not interested backing you and you are to the stage where you want a possible relationship with them, if they don't even think that way, then, you could be wasting your time, and that's the thing. I mean, with demi-romantics, there's no guarantee that even if someone does form a strong emotional connection with you, that you're gonna like them back in that way. So you've got to be sort of prepared that that it might not work out. But with the demis, if you need that strong emotional bond, the way you form that emotional bond is by being very vulnerable yourself, open, honest, and not having secrets, but in fact sharing those secrets with that person if you think you can trust them. I'm not telling you to go out and randomly tell everyone your secrets because I don't advise on that. But you know, I share loads of sort of secrets on this channel, which clearly aren't that secret anymore, are they? Because, and in my book, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just telling the world my secrets. But that's because, you know, I think I only have one life and I'm only here once. And if I can share some of my most intimate moments and secrets with lots of people, which aren't obviously really secret anymore, I do still have some secrets that I don't tell absolutely the world. Not very many, but I do. So that I'll share with a few close friends of mine, you know. But you know, I kind of do that because I think, you know, that I can't take these things with me when I die. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get morbid. I hope to live to at least be 100. Do you know what I mean? And I'm far from even half of that yet. Mega far from it. But I just want, you know, I can't, you know, there's certain things in your life that you can't take with you, yeah? When you go, hopefully your spirit's still here, right? But, you know, if I can help as many people as possible by sharing some of my more intimate moments and intimate thoughts and feelings, you know, of course not everyone's going to like it. I mean, you should see the subscriptions on this channel. It kind of like goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, because some people love my videos and they're like, yeah, I love that video, let's subscribe. And they might do another video and they're like, oh, I don't like that video, so I'm subscribed. And this is how it goes on this channel. Some people say subscribe forever or for a very long period, you know, unless they ever disable their account, which some people just do because they've changed their life around, you know. So I have the regulars on here that are always tune in, like you guys, like Michael, Heather, Martin, you know, and Andy quite often as well. And then, you know, you have the people that, you know, are up and down all the time, and I might get X amount of people subscribing in a week and X amount of people not, because I'm very outspoken on this channel, and I don't particularly, I stick to a lot of talking about relationships, friendships, dating, because I really feel I can help best in those areas. But I cover so many different asexual topics because obviously I talk about my own asexual journey, and sometimes it will resonate with someone. So as this video is about connection, you know, sometimes when I do videos, they'll feel connected to me. These people will feel connected to me, right? They might see a video where I'm talking about I absolutely hate sex. I can't stand it. And I'm so happy I'm sex free and been that way since 2011, which I talk about quite a bit. So they might see that video and they might feel really connected to me, like, oh, this person really understands me, they can relate to me, they understand what I'm talking about, they feel really close to me in that way, and that someone gets them. But then I might equally do a video like 1 or 2 days later, which might start talking about the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. It might start talking about, for example, like intimate kissing. And for someone who's, for example, sex repulsed, they might think that, oh, I don't want to hear about this. But I like the fact she hated sex, because she was saying, like, back then she hated sex, you know, personally, that in 2011, that's the last time she had it, her life is wonderful. And then they're hearing a couple of videos later how I got sexual behaviour with the kissing, even though I'm not sexually attracted to anyone, and I might be talking about arousal. And so a person will be like, oh, that's gross, you know, because I'm sex repulsed. I don't want to hear about that, because you can get different types of sex repulsed asexuals. So then they'll unsubscribe again. So they'll feel disconnected. I'm not always interested in the topic you speak about, but I don't see that as a reason to unsubscribe. I mean, if someone hates a particular topic, doesn't it make more sense just to skip that one? Exactly, Michael. It does. Skip it, or go and put a cup of tea on, or just take from it what you want. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm a type of person, though, that's quite open-minded, you know? I can listen to quite a lot of different stuff, and I do this channel because I want to show people my asexual journey, like, in real time, like, as it happens, and I want to be very open and honest. I don't want to pretend to hide, you know? I could hide the fact that I have experienced arousal. I could hide the fact that I have sexual behaviour with the kissing, you know, because sometimes even saying those words makes me, like, I have sexual behaviour with kissing, makes me cringe, because I don't want to think about sexual stuff, you know, because I'm not sexual in the sense I love a teenage star relationship. I'm not into sex. So, you know, even when I say I've got some sexual behaviour, sometimes it makes me cringe inside, because it's kind of like, oh, I'm using that word, those words, sexual behaviour, and it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable myself. But I'm like, come on, Sandra, this is truly what other, you know, like, kind of what other people would see it as sexual behaviour. And it is, like, with the breathing noises and the way I kiss sometimes, it is sexual behaviour. You can't, like, lie to yourself and lie to other people, because I don't believe in doing that, you know. I mean, someone might come along and they might think she's talking rubbish. That's not sexual behaviour. I do that, you know, and I'm asexual. So they might have completely different spin on it and just think I'm talking rubbish, because they don't see themselves as having sexual behaviour, because either they're in denial or they don't believe it is. They just believe it's natural, because after all, you know, like if you are naturally aroused, you know, you're making those noises or something, that could be seen as a natural thing. So it's got nothing to do with sexual behaviour. It's just got to do with a response to stimuli, and it's just your own body's way of being natural. You could look at it like that. I don't have to look at it as full-on sexual behaviour. You don't have to do that. It's just that I kind of like, that's how I feel in that moment of saying and describing that. And that's how I kind of feel in the asexual dating scene, that I'm too sexual behaviour for some people and not sexual enough for others. I actually don't like it when people are not honest and open and upfront, because I connect to a lot of asexuals that happen to be quite sexual behaviour. A lot of the guys do, but they're more so than me, much more, you know. They're like, want kisses all over the body, touching and all that type of stuff, which, you know, you can get people who call that sensual. They don't think it's anything to do with sexual. I would still say some of that sexual behaviour, because I've been in heterosexual relationships for half my life. So someone who wants to have all their hands all over my body, someone who wants to kiss all my private bits, someone who wants to, you know, I could look at that as sexual behaviour, or I could look at it as sensual in behaviour, because sensual is to do with touching and feeling. So really you could look at it in two completely different ways. And, you know, and if I wanted to get away from the sexual behaviour wording I use, I could just think, okay, that's sensual, maybe I'll become a sensual asexual. People are judgmental. Exactly. I mean, people, you know, like, the one way we connect though with others, having said that, Heather, the one way we connect with others is because we do judge things. You know, people in life say don't judge, but everyone judges 24/7, 365 days a year, even if they don't want to. You know, you have to judge. You know, when you put some toothpaste, are you put that toothpaste on the toothbrush, or is half of it trailing down your mouth? That's kind of like judging yourself. It's kind of a weird analogy, but it's a random thing, you know. And when you're going to cross a road, you might see someone and you're thinking, am I safe to be near that person if they're acting strangely and oddly to you in behaviour, for example? And you might sit in, if you're studying, for example, you might sit in the classroom, hear someone say something, you might think, that's odd. And sometimes you can have involuntary responses, sometimes you can have subconscious thoughts, you know, and feelings and emotions. And really, we judge all the time, but judging is not necessarily a bad thing, because it can be to protect you and to help you out. But it can also be very restrictive in the fact you don't open your mind enough and listen to what other people say, and then you always have the same beliefs and never change throughout your whole life and don't develop yourself and grow yourself at all. So it can be different types. But don't forget, when you connect with others, you don't know what they're like. You don't know whether an open-minded person, hi St. Everest, hello, so you don't actually know, when you connect with others, how they are. I think I'm asexual. I'm confused. Okay, I've heard of that term, but I'm not really exactly sure what it means. So there's tons of asexual terms, and I don't memorise all of them. But I know quite a few of them, but I don't memorise all of them. So yeah, Wikipedia normally have good links to most different types of asexuality, and there's some videos on YouTube as well. So I haven't done a video about everything, but yeah. So when you connect to others, I was saying, thanks for joining us, by the way. When you connect to others, I was saying, you know, you don't know what type of frame of mind they're in. You don't know whether they're going to judge you, whether they're going to be just appreciate who you are, where, you know, you don't know their response. So what I'm saying is, you've got your own person to think about when you connect with someone, your own personality, your own beliefs, your own values, and then, you know, you have to see if they match up with those. You know, I would tend to say, you know, the best connections are the ones where you've got a lot in common. So going back to the grey romantic and demisexual, the people that need to form that really deep emotional connection before they can either feel, in the case of a grey romantic romance, or in the case of a demisexual sexual attraction, you know, you need to be really open, honest communication, putting yourself, you know, being vulnerable. You need to choose the people or person that you really would like to be in a relationship with, if you want to take it to a relationship level, you know, and have lots of open, honest communication, discussion and dialogue with that person, and find out why they're connecting with you. If they feel the same way about you, there's something a bit more than friendship there that they might like to pursue with you, you know. But in order to form a deep emotional connection, you have to be open and vulnerable, because if you're not, that other person can't get in to you. They can't get into your world, if you know what I mean. It's like a cage that's blocked off. And, you know, it's all very well to, there's lots of people that have been hurt in their life, right? There's lots of people, including asexuals. And when you're hurt and in pain and you've been treated badly and you've been betrayed and people have lied to you or cheated on you, it's a natural thing to want to put all your barriers up. It's a natural thing to want to protect yourself. It's a natural thing. And that can be a good thing because, you know, if you're prone to attracting people in your life that are bad for you, then obviously that's something you need to work on and develop and grow. You need to take courses in finding, you know, like, in finding patterns of behavior in other people that are actually not healthy, that are damaging to you in some way. And you need to look out for signs of, you know, like narcissistic signs, signs of narcissism and, you know, signs of bad people. You need to know these and you need to work on it. But at the same time, once you put these gates and walls up, you can't then, you keep out the bad, but you can't let in the good. Do you see what I mean? So if you're not open and honest, you're holding back, you're having secrets, you're being secretive with people, you're not being open and honest, people can feel that, you know. I can feel already that guy that I'm messaging on ASAP, either he probably really isn't interested in me or not bothered about me. That's what I would conclude from those messages. But I would also say that, you know, like if he was wanting to be emotionally connected to me, for example, he would have to open himself up a lot more and ask me questions about myself, which he's clearly not doing, which is usually a sign that they're not that interested. But I do know some asexuals are socially awkward. They do find it difficult to communicate. They do find it difficult even to make friendships. And the reason is because a lot of the time, a lot of asexual can be very introverted, so you tend to look at your life a lot and your own problems a lot, and you tend to be introverted and shy. Instead of reaching out to the person, you be into you, if you know what I mean. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, but you have to still push yourself to do some things that would probably be more comfortable for an extrovert to do. So you have to put yourself forward for things, and you know, you have to realize that not everyone in the world is bad. You know, not everyone in the world's nasty and horrible, and even though you've been through pain and heartache in the past, and I hope you don't continue to go through it, you know, you still have to open yourself up. Like I've had you know, like I've had some horrendous stuff happen to me, not as bad as some other people have had, you know. I still consider myself very lucky and fortunate in many ways, but you know, I've had some very bad experiences for me. And so, but that doesn't stop me being vulnerable and open and honest with people. That doesn't stop me being, you know, very, very honest, you know, to the point where I'm so honest that people, you know, probably thinking, wow, do you know what I mean? She shouldn't be saying that much. But I do, because I just feel I need to connect with as many people as possible while I'm on this earth to help them out. You know, I feel like I'm not here just for me in my life. I feel I'm here for others, and if I can help others, and the only way I'm going to help others is being by open and honest and showing that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay not to have had the amazing life that everyone pretends they have, a lot of the time don't. You know, it's okay to be different. It's okay to be you. And there are people that are horrible in the world, you know. I still get them, you know, especially when I do this channel. There are people that do come on or private message me sometimes that aren't good. But, you know, I just block them out of my life, you know, and move on with my life. It's their problem at the end of the day. They don't have to talk to me if they don't like what I do. Don't have to leave horrible comments. They just choose to. But overall, I get many more good comments. I get many more people in my groups, in my asexual groups, talking to each other, or at least responding to me well in there. I get a lot of friends online, asexual friends. I get people who say I inspire them and help them, you know. Sometimes I don't mention all those people. Sometimes I mention quite a lot of the sort of like negative things, as in sense of lots of sexuals sort of invading asexual spaces, which you can tell frustrates me a bit, to say the least. But, you know, there are lots of good things, you know. One of my asexual friends the other day, who I'm very connected to, is a really good friend of mine. The reason we're very well connected is we're very open and honest with each other. Like, we tell each other our secrets. We tell each other, like, everyday happenings. I feel he doesn't hide anything from me. I feel he's very blatantly honest. He, you know, if he talks about anything, like really personal, intimate details, he doesn't hold back. He knows I can handle it, you know. He knows I can take whatever he puts in a message. And I think that's another thing as well. When you're connecting with someone, you have to ask yourself, can you handle them saying stuff to you? Can you handle what they're going to bring up? I'm not saying I can handle everything, right? There's an asexual person who seems absolutely lovely person, and the other day they started saying something to me, and I'm like really squeamish about what they were talking about. I'm like, oh my goodness me, that really put me off talking to them actually. But I know they're a good person, so it's like, I'm like, oh my goodness me. And I really just wanted to like go, you know, but I kind of entered the conversation quite quickly that time. I'm thinking, just end the conversation quickly, because I think they need to get on. And they may have even been saying that, I don't know, to make me squeamish, to think, oh, we need to end this conversation. I don't know, because I don't know their intention. That's what I mean. You can only be responsible for yourself when you're connecting with someone. You can't be responsible for the other people. That's another thing, you know. You can't be responsible for their actions, what they say to you, what they do. Obviously, if someone hurts you, then you need to say something to them. And it's up to you whether they've broken your trust or not, as if you want to maintain that connection. Basic human right you have to know and understand is that you always have the right to change your mind. So if you connect with someone and you feel that they're not right for you, not being good to you, the connection isn't great for you, you can break that connection again. You don't have to stay in that connection. And ultimately you probably won't stay connected. One of you, them or you, will feel like a disengage from them, because you'll feel like you can't you know, you can't relate to each other anymore. You'll feel like there's a barrier there, which is what I feel like with some people I think would really love a relationship or friendship, but I kind of feel like there's this barrier up. They need to feel like they need to sneak around or not reveal things or be a bit hush hush. They sort of live their life a bit in the dark, if you know what I mean. And I can feel those type of people. Some of them I might really like and care about, but I can feel it's not good, you know. But anyway, going back to this asexual friend I've got that's really good, open, one of my best friends, really good on his communication. He paid me a really lovely compliment the other day. He said, I really admire you, Sandra. I forgot to tell you, I really admire you because you're very good with boundaries with people, whereas I'm not so good with boundaries in social situations. And I said, oh, that's really lovely of you to say, thank you. And, you know, I didn't know that, because years ago I would say I wasn't that great with boundaries. I've got much, much better. So for me, that was great feedback. Not only was it a fantastic compliment that made me feel great, but it also it made me feel like the work I'd done on myself, because I continually trying to develop myself into a better person. I'm not saying I'm perfect, far from it. I'm not saying that some people don't get peed off with me, because I'm sure they do. For you know, because I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I know that I'm very outspoken and blunt a lot of the time, and you know, I will say what's on my mind, and not everyone is sexual fantasies. Oh right, Heather, thank you. Is that where they have sexual fantasies but have no desire to act on them? Because if it is, I know someone else like that. So yeah, what was I saying? Sorry. So yeah, I was talking about my friend, and I thought that's good, because I've had to do a course. Oh yeah, I know someone like that. I had to do a course on I've done an abuse course years and years ago. Like, this is going back, I think it was 2012, was it? I think it was. I did a course, a 14-week professional course. It's through the NHS, which is National Health Service in the UK, and it was all about breaking patterns of being with an abusive person. And you know, I've still got all the notes from it, and that was an amazing course, an absolutely amazing course, and I just loved it, and I learned so much from it, and it was amazing. So you've got to understand that there are people you connect with who you might think initially are good and who are not good. So the fact that my asexual friend said to me about the fact that I'm good with boundaries, years ago I didn't used to be good with boundaries. I'd say that I let people walk all over me more, and that because I'd say that I wasn't so self-assured, I didn't have so much confidence, I didn't have so much self-love, and so, you know, I would stick up for myself in lots of ways, but not in always the right ways, you know. But it was really nice to get that feedback from him, because I said, you know, I have very strict boundaries on people that I'm just friends with, on people that I like as a potential relationship, and people, you know, a person that I'd be in a relationship with. So with friends, I don't kiss my friends, you know. I just don't kiss my friends. I mean, I might, you know, like on the lips. So I have occasionally in my life kissed my friends on the cheek, right? I have actually done that when I'm really close to someone, occasionally done that at certain times, but that doesn't happen very often. But I've never, I don't kiss friends on the lips, people that I just want to be my friends, that I'm just staying friends with, that I don't want anything else out with, or they don't fancy me, I don't fancy them. Yeah, those type of friends, that it's definitely relationships not on the cards. Then there are people with potential relationships. Now, a guy I'm interested in a potential relationship with, again, my boundaries are that, I find out, if I'm interested in a potential relationship, it depends. If it's obviously what circumstance. If it's with a friend, I would find out if they like me more than a friend first, so that I don't upset their boundaries, so that I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. So the best thing to do is I ask them how they feel about me. That gives nothing away about how I feel about them, whether I like them more than a friend or what. That just lets me find out about them. Therefore, it's less uncomfortable for them because they're saying it, and it's better for me because I know where I stand. So there are those types of people that I might get in those situations with. And that's very easy. They tell me that how they feel, like they just like me as a friend, or we're not suitable anyway. And that's it. Friendship carries on, no problem, nothing lost, nothing gained. Then there are those that I have a potential relationship with. It might be in a romantic situation. So it'll be like in a nightclub, for example. There might be like a foreign guy I like that I really fancy, and we end up like being very intimately dancing or even kissing. That might be a type of thing. And again, I've got boundaries with them because I won't let them touch in certain places. If I am intimately dancing, right, I'll be like, don't touch my top half, don't touch my bottom bit here, like keep your hands off them. Do you know what I mean? So that, I wouldn't do that with someone usually who I just met and, is not my boyfriend. If I had a boyfriend, I might, if he had a boyfriend, I don't know at the moment how much I would let him touch of me. But probably a bit more with my clothes on. But I would certainly be kissing him loads, really, and I probably would have more boundaries. Like I said, he might be able to touch me more in certain places, what he would at certain stages of a relationship, not when I've just become in with him, when it's like I'm seriously committed. Like there's certain things I really can't see me doing again, and there's certain things I would like doing, but only in a serious committed relationship. And then there are other things that just no go, I'm not going there. So for example, sexual intercourse, I don't want intercourse. Do you know what I mean? So there are boundaries I have with different people, but I'm very, very trustworthy. I know that if I like a guy, I'm not going around like, if I want a serious relationship, if I'm committed to that, I'm not going around trying to get relationships from other guys. Do you see what I mean? And that's the thing, like I said at the beginning of this video, you've got to realise your why, because say you want a relationship with someone, you've also got to find out if their standards are the same as yours and their boundaries are the same, right? Because it's no good. Say I've been in a relationship with people in the past, guys, who their boundaries are all over the place, right? They're not good. They flirt with other women. They don't understand what other women are like. They have no boundaries with them. If a woman tells them a sob story, they believe it. They'll put their arms around other women. They'll be intimate with other women maybe and stuff like that. I mean, some of it they do on purpose. They know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? They're just being ridiculously, out of order. But other times they just it's part of their personality that they're just basically, they're not strong. They're not strong enough for my standards. I mean, I know that now, but I didn't know it back then. I have standards and I expect a guy to have standards. I expect a guy to be able to be kind to people, but be able to say to a woman, look, I've got a girlfriend, right? I'm not interested, And that's the type of strong guy I need. It's all very well having a really kind, caring guy. And I want them to be kind and caring with other people, but without them being a pushover. Do you see what I mean? And if the guy, if I'm in a relationship with a guy who's got no boundaries with other people, that could be a man or woman that take advantage of him, or that kiss him or do whatever to him. They sometimes make you feel inadequate. What guys you mean I've been with in the past, or are you talking about people you connect with in general? If someone's making you feel inadequate, they're not good for you. You should get rid of them. No one should be making you feel bad about yourself, invalidated, inadequate. Obviously you have to reflect on yourself. Like, if say that person's really good at something, so say you've become connected with someone in some way and they excel in something. So for example, my best female friend, she's not asexual, but she's a really good singer, right? Like, I don't get jealous of her singing. I welcome her singing, you know? I go and watch her do karaoke despite the fact I can't sing, and, you know, I just go for her, really, because I'm interested in hearing her sing. Karaoke is really not my thing. That whole scene is not really that my thing, but it's good for me to try different things, though. I mean, that's where I met the heterosexual guy I dated a few weeks ago, like a month ago now. He was at a place where my friend does karaoke in my city. So, you know, I'm different to her, but I don't feel inadequate that I can't sing. So if I was feeling inadequate that I can't sing because she was a good singer, then that would be my onus on me, that I'm feeling adequate because I'm feeling insecure about myself. But if it was a case of the other person was making you feel bad about yourself, like you're not good enough, like, oh, I don't like the clothes you wear, you know, because they're not this label or brand, for example, they're making you feel inadequate, like you don't have enough money, or your clothes are not good, you know, your status in your buy clothes is not good enough for them. That's the type of connection that you don't want. You don't want someone making you feel inadequate because they are making you feel that way, rather than you feeling that way because it's just an insecurity in yourself. Do you see what I mean? There's different types of inadequacies. And when you make connections with people, you know, you might feel yourself that you're inadequate in some way. And that means that you need to work on that. You know, I'm not perfect, you know. I'm not saying that every time I don't, you know, like the majority of times I say I don't feel inadequate, but there are certain things that, like, say I do something really well and that other person starts doing it really well, but maybe a bit better than me in my eyes, then I might feel a bit inadequate, that, oh, I've been practicing this thing for ages, I thought I was really good at it, I still think that, but I might be a little bit insecure, and that does happen sometimes. I'm not perfect, you know. No one's perfect in this world, you know. Things can, you know, and I've got, you know, you have a lot of old patterns of behavior in childhood and from your past, and when things crop up again, certain situations, it can trigger those. And, you know, you just got to give yourself some self-love as well, you know. You got to remember, like I said, to maintain the connection with yourself in order to connect well with others. Like, if I'm feeling like a bit you know, like, say I was feeling a bit insecure about something, which doesn't happen as like much compared to what you used to do. So I'm just feeling like a little bit insecure, or maybe I'm feeling a bit inadequate, you know, I can then like retreat back into myself and talk to myself, say, okay, Sandra, remember this situation last time, you know, this is the trigger, this is why you're feeling this way, and just give yourself a little breathing space and a bit of time to think, okay, is it the other person that's making me feel adequate, or is it just me? And I might sometimes think, well, this is just me, you know, I think I'm being silly. It's not okay for other people to say I'm silly, but I feel that because if someone's saying you're silly for feeling a certain way, they're not good people. But if I'm saying I feel I'm being a bit silly, again, it's critical of yourself, so it's not good to criticise you, but it's good to recognise that maybe you're a bit feeling a bit of an irrational thought based on your previous fears or insecurities. So then you can like give yourself some self-love. Sometimes you just need self-love. You just need to say, okay, I felt a bit insecure over that, but I still love myself. You know, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do that. It's not a good thing, and I'll try and stop it. But sometimes, you know, you can go throughout your whole life and you don't actually totally stop 100% of all your patterns. Sometimes something will happen and you can keep trying to develop and grow yourself, but no one's perfect. We all have weaknesses, and some weaknesses may stay with us forever. Some weaknesses we may be able to get rid of, sort out, or manage well. So it's really important to still be connected with yourself. So the less self-love you give yourself, the less you'll feel connected with yourself. The more critical you are of yourself, the more you'll start to feel less of your soul. So I have to sometimes take a step back from my own life and what I'm doing and think, I criticise myself a heck of a lot, and I'm thinking, oh, you're being a bit too critical there, and you need to take time out, step back, you know, maybe just have some breathing space, you know, like to reflect and be with yourself, maybe just watch a movie, maybe just to chill out some music, maybe just to like shut off from the online world for a bit, maybe just to like, you know, go in your shell a little bit. So I am an extrovert predominantly, but sometimes it's good to go in your shell in the sense of, if it's for your own inner retrospect, inner reflection, like because you're looking inside you to improve or to heal yourself in some way. So you shouldn't be so inside your shell in the bad way, that you're, because you're insecure, fearful, not letting anyone in, you're keeping your gates up, you're being indoors all the time, you're not speaking to anyone because you're scared out your wits. That's not a good going into your shell. But there's the other scenario when you can think of it like a snail, a beautiful snail, and you've come out and you can handle the rain, you can handle lots of things, you know, you even come out in the rain, you know, you can dance in the rain, as it were. So even in the bad times, you can still shine and come out of your shell and dance in the rain, you know, and pitter-patter along the floor and leave your beautiful trail of your, you know, your wonderfulness. But you can retreat into your shell to think, I just want some like quiet time. I just want to be with myself. I just want to look around my little home. You know, sometimes I love my flat here, and sometimes I just like to spend a bit of time with me, with no outside connections whatsoever. Just, you know, watching a movie or something and laughing a bit, watching, you know, maybe I will watch a YouTube video that's got some comedy in it, some comedy sketches or something, and, you know, just taking some time out, and I feel like a nice kid again, because really my personal soul is very kid-like. And when I'm nourishing that soul, when I'm nourishing that teenager girl in me, I feel so much happier and alive and energized, and then I'm able to be better for other people. When I'm running on empty, I'm stressed out, which can happen quite a bit sometimes, or sometimes not so much, you know, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm not feeling good, or when I'm getting some person that's quite toxic or connecting to me. So I have to just state that sometimes it's your own family or relations. I love kids shows, so do I, Heather. Sometimes it's your own family or relations that can actually be quite damaging in what they say, and they can be thinking that they're being helpful. But, you know, I don't talk about much personal stuff in here to do with my family. I don't want to talk about it on this channel. I don't think it's appropriate. But in general, families in general, you know, they can be very kind, caring, but sometimes they can be, what they think's kind and caring for you is not necessarily good for you. And sometimes, you know, if you're around people that are negative in your family, you know, you can't get rid of your family. You can't, I mean, you could abandon them if you really want to, but I wouldn't recommend it unless they're being really abusive to you. But you have to kind of you might have to limit your time you spend with them, because if you're around family and they're not seeing life as you're seeing it, because maybe they're a different generation, maybe they're a different type of person to you, maybe you're extrovert, they're an introvert, maybe they're conservative, you're outgoing, maybe you're just very different, excuse me, I'm going to drink, maybe you're just different types of people, then that connection, you've got a connection there and a bond, because it's like your family member. But, you know, it kind of like the connection can feel kind of a bit like, how can I put it, kind of a bit wiry, you know, like it's scratching you a bit. Do you know what I mean? You know, when you get one of those metal brushes and it's like, if you put it on your back, it would be scratching your back a bit. And maybe that's a bit too harsh, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, or, you know, like, how can I put it? It's like when you get a wire brush on your hair and you're brushing a bit too hard or something, it's scratching you. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of that like eek feeling, and it's kind of like sometimes, you know, you might have to sit and listen to that, and it's really not good for you, and sometimes you can't get away and you've got to try and protect yourself, and sometimes in that moment you might just feel like everyone's throwing stuff at you and snowballing stuff at you, and you know, sometimes you in that moment all you can do is protect yourself, and all you can do is think, okay, I'm connected to this person because I'm a family member, I respect them and I love them as my family member, but really they're not being good for me at the moment. Really, they're just draining my energy, they're overwhelming me, they're making me feel worse. I mean, sometimes they can make you feel worse. They can think they're really helping you, and they're doing the exact opposite. And every time you build yourself up, you can go to them and they're putting you down again, or making you feel inadequate, or making you insecure, or making you worried, you know? And part of it's because of their own worry. It's their own insecurity and worry. They're worried and insecure because they don't understand you. They don't understand your situation. They don't understand your life. And they don't understand why you do what you do. And it can be really hard because you've got that connection with people. Like often in your family, you've got a connection with a person, whether you like it or not. So you have to try and have the best connection with that person, even though it might be difficult for you, because you kind of have to be yourself, but at the same time kind of have a good connection with them. And sometimes you might just have to stick up to them if they're a family member. You might just have to stand your ground and say, this is me, this is who I am. I'm not going to be the person you want me to be. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing, whether you like it or not. And you have to be strong. And if they don't like it, it's tough, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But it's very difficult. I think families can be very difficult. They can be very empowering, very uplifting, or they can be very destroying, or they can just be quite passive and don't really do much, you know. So there are a different range. But, you know, sometimes when you've got people in your life that maybe you can't get rid of in your life, maybe they're a bit toxic for you, they're a bit negative. Like I said, sometimes when you're that beautiful snail, sometimes you need to go into your shell because you need to take some time out. You've been out, you've had the little feelers out, and you're feeling around and you're like, oh, that's a sting. Oh, I don't like this. And you're like going backwards and backwards because they're kind of pushing all their like negativity towards you. And you're like, oh gosh, you know, it's like an explosion of negativity. And it's a bit like Spider-Man. If you ever see the Spider-Man where he's in the dark phase, you know, where you've got that, you know, like that sort of splattering stuff. So I don't know if you watch Spider-Man, you've seen the Spider-Man films at all. You know, you've got like this, you know, when he flies his web and stuff and all that type of, you've got like a dark version of Spider-Man. It looks like he's got like tar all over it. It's kind of like that. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it can be family members or relations that you feel close to. Excuse me. And they're splattering stuff all over you and you feel it's like tar on you and you go like, my God, I've got to get rid of this stuff off me. So you might like retreat into your shell and cut off, and you might need to take a shower, get rid of all that stuff, and you might need to build yourself up again. You know, you might need to have a nice cup of tea, chamomile or something, you know, for aid the digestion. You might need to, like I said, you might need to be in your home like for a day or something, or a couple of days, not go out, and like just have nice food, watch a nice movie, like be in your shell with whatever you're doing. And you might need to like, you know, like just comfort yourself with anything that makes you feel great and fun. And sometimes it's difficult because when other people drain our energy, you know, we need to like boot it back up again. And if we have to see the people that drain our energy, if we have to see them, sometimes it's a practical thing that's happening in your life, and you might have to see these people, you know, and you might not feel like for your best interest it's not great, but there might be other things that are bigger interests, bigger things, that issues that are happening in your life that you need to see them about. And so then you've got to like know what's coming up. And I find that is one of the most difficult things to deal with in life, knowing that you've kind of like need to be around a more toxic person that you're dealing with for a certain period of time, even though you know it's no good for you, but you kind of have to because your life has put you in that way. So for example, another situation, I mean, I've never been married before. I have been engaged years ago, which most people probably don't know, but say you have a married couple, say they split up, right? And say it was one of them was abusing, say for example the woman was being abused by the guy. Obviously it can be the opposite way around. And say they had a child together, and then the guy, you know, the woman had to talk to the guy because he needed to see the kid and he'd still got access for that, you know. She would have to deal with him, but he might be nasty to her in that exchange, you know. He might be saying horrible things, he might be filling the kid's head with garbage, you know, but she has to deal with that. And so she's connected with someone who she doesn't want to be connected to, but kind of has to be for the sake of the child. And sometimes when you're in that situation, you have to be prepared. You have to kind of think. I know like people say, oh, don't think the worst, but sometimes you have to think the worst in that situation. You have to ask yourself, okay, so what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst possible thing that could happen? And how would I handle it if it did? Because by doing that and preempting it, just in case it happened, it can prepare you more for it so that you're more... You've got more stronger armor, if you know what I mean. You're stronger in yourself. You've got a more stronger armor. You're more going into battle with like protection. Do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to actually face your fear head on and think, right, what's the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? And what are you going to do about it if this happens, you know? What's your get out clause? What's your escape plan? What can you do to counteract it? You know, maybe it's ignoring them. Maybe it's saying nothing, just going deadly silent. Maybe it's saying something back. Maybe it's all about, you know, choosing to bite your tongue because you realise that, you know, you've got the kid involved. You know, maybe it's just being overly nice to them on purpose because they'll like freak out and think, what the heck's got into you? Oh, I can't be horrible to you anymore, or it's really difficult to be. I don't know what's going on, or maybe you want to act weird because it will just throw them off course, you know. Again, that's not totally being yourself. I find the least amount of time you spend with toxic people in any situation is best, because when you've got toxic people around you, they kind of like they kind of push you into being something you're not for protecting yourself. So like I said, like saying that scenario I just said, you know, you might feel like you have to be overly friendly when you don't want to be to a person who's been a monster to you because you just want the benefit of the kid, and you're kind of like being someone you're not because that's not true to who you really are in that situation with that person, and you're kind of having to change your psychology a bit to be good for the kid. But that can also be quite damaging to you if you're purposely pushing yourself to do something you don't want to do. Like if you've ever had a situation, for example, with a narcissist, like a narcissist is someone who lacks empathy, who is very manipulative, who literally thinks they're the boss of you, who will have no sympathy for you. So say something's happened in your life, and say it's been quite a tragedy, you've had an accident or someone's hurt, you're being abusive, and you tell them that, it'll just be like, oh, okay. And they'll carry on talking to you and they'll have no emotion, no feeling, no empathy whatsoever. Like it didn't happen, like you didn't just say that. And then they might expect you to do certain things for them, and they'll be cruel and unkind, and, you know, and like when you're around a narcissist, which I've had a narcissist in my past job, they tend to be quite bullying. You know, you have to kind of like be something you're not around them in order to defend yourself or protect yourself or get away from them. And in that situation where it's my work, it was very, very difficult for them. Very, very difficult for me with them, sorry. And it became very hard, and I had to learn certain techniques that I learned off YouTube videos just to learn how to deal with a narcissist. So when he was coming to me and having a conversation, having a go at me like he did, I learned techniques like to put your hand behind your head, you know, like you're distracting him, you're distracting yourself from the reality of the fact he stood in front of you in your face. You know, you're putting a sort of like a situational barrier up. You're doing something. Thanks for the thumbs up, I appreciate it. You're doing something that, you know, that is distracting them, as it were, and it makes you not so concentrated on them. And I learned to be very like not retaliate back. Like I used to like say stuff back to him because I'm a person that likes sticking up for myself. I don't like taking rubbish from people. But I learned with him that the best thing, most powerful thing with him in some of the situations was to literally say nothing. And the most powerful thing was to show no emotion to him. But that was so difficult because, hand on my heart, I am a really emotional person. I like being emotional. I enjoy being emotional. Who I truly am. Obviously, you have to try and tame those emotions to a certain extent. Sometimes you have to try and, you know, control them to a certain extent. But, you know, I am a very emotional person. And people who are narcissistic, they prey on people that are emotional. They hate it. They think they're vulnerable. They think they're weak. And they try and use that all they can to be nasty to you, to bully you, to take advantage of you, to push you over, push you over as in not necessarily literally, but metaphorically, you know, treat you like a pushover, you know, and they have no respect for you. And they believe that you shouldn't be the way you are, you know. So with this person, I used to be like emotional with other people and used to be myself, and he used to hate it. I know he did because he saw it as weak. But when I was with him, I try and have no emotion. So in the end, I'd say nothing back to him. I just let him say, which made him look a bit stupid. And I would like try and put my hand behind my head, you know, and I would try and like think to myself, you know, he's being ridiculous at the moment. He's not being nice. He's being nasty. But I would say ultimately I had to train my brain to don't retaliate, Sandra. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate, because you are giving him power. That's what he wants. He likes attention. These narcissists, they love attention. You know, they want to be the center of attention. They want to boss you around. They want you to feel small. They want to hurt you. But in essence, what you have to do is get away from these people. You have to limit your time with them and get away from them. And I hope to God you haven't got one in your family. Now, if you've got one in your family, which you may have, again, you need to limit your time with them. You need to know that they have got serious issues, even though they don't think there's anything wrong with them, because narcissists don't, as a general rule. They have got serious mental problems being like that. You know, they are not good people. But sometimes you might have a narcissistic parent. You might live with them all the time, you know, and you might have to deal with that. So then you have to make sure you've got other friends outside of the family home, that you've got other people to speak to online if you can't get out, that you've got other people that bring you up. But always remember to try and boost yourself up as much as possible. Spend time with yourself, you know, spend time doing things you love that make you feel good. Like put your put your energy into creative pursuits, like make something, create something, because once you've made and created something, you know you're good, you know you've got talents and skills and abilities that can make you feel good about yourself. You don't have to show them, just keep it, keep a diary or a journal, keep a padlock on it if you need to, and just do some drawings, just do some writing, just do anything to take you out of that world with them and into your own world, if you like. Sometimes living in more fantasy world is not always a bad thing, because it can help you be a way of coping, and in a toxic environment, if you're living with parents or relatives or family and the relations that are literally toxic for you, sometimes you have to use things as escapism. Sometimes you have to use movies. Sometimes you have to use like maybe you're doing video games. Sometimes you have to use drawing and things. You're being creative. But so long as you're creating, you're actually putting something good out into the universe. You need to do whatever makes you feel good, If you want to, I'm a Disney girl. I love living in a Disney world, even though I don't live with my family. I don't live with parents. I live on my own. I still like living in a Disney world because it makes me feel good, I like living like a teenager. And that is because I love doing that. That feels good for me. When I was younger in birth certificate age, I was very old for my age. I lived a very old life. I wasn't allowed to have my hair long when I was a kid. I was dressed in clothes that weren't particularly great. I got bullied and stuff, and I really didn't like quite a lot of my childhood. Not all of it was bad. There was some good stuff in there, but I remember quite a lot of I did remember quite a lot of the bad things, yeah? But recently I came to the conclusion that I survived, that I survived those times, that I'm thriving now, that I've got to kind of look back at those times now and think, actually, they were good, because it proves that you're a survivor, that you're very strong, that you can believe in yourself and you can trust yourself because you got yourself out of those situations. And so, I'm trying to look back at the past now and put a good slant on the past. I'm trying to look back at those past and feel more connected to my strong self. So by being more connected with yourself, you can be more connected with others, but you've got to realize that some connections you either have to get rid of because they're bad for you, or if you have to have those connections, you have to be more connected to yourself and your own interests and in life purpose and anything that makes you happy and excited, in order to counteract the bad connection that you have with other people that's not healthy for you. To all the things that are bad, you have to try and create as many good things as possible in your life. The more you feel connected to yourself, the more that you can try and help yourself with another person. It can't, sometimes it's terrible, I'm not going to say it's easy. Sometimes, you know what's coming. Sometimes you know that person can get to you, even if you don't want them to. Sometimes with your best hope in the world, you can try and think you're going to be the most strongest person. And when it comes to it, they could say something completely unexpected out of blue, just throws you completely off course. In which case, like I said, try and spend more time with yourself, spend more time with other people that you feel good about connecting with, where it's online or in person. Though sometimes I realise your circumstance might be that you can't get out. Maybe you're disabled. Maybe you're socially so awkward that you just can't get out of your home. Maybe you just can't find it difficult to communicate with in person more than online. So maybe you do need to speak to people online. If you're having really bad times at home, like, connect with other people. What I would say, in order to maintain other people wanting to be connected to you, don't just talk about your problems all the time. Yes, you might have got hurt. Yes, you might have people that are horrible to you. But if you are making a connection with someone else, don't forget you have to be beneficial to the person as well that you've made that connection with. So if you're just going around and all you're telling your other connections all the time is negativity, like, oh, I've got all this situation at home, my life's rubbish, my life's a mess, everything's going wrong, these people are horrible to me, this is nasty and everything like that. If you're saying all this stuff to the other connections you have made, then it's not gonna, oh, my battery's going low now, then it's not gonna keep them wanting to be connected with you, if you understand what I mean. So make sure that the negativity from those other people that aren't good in your life are not impacting your good relationships with other people in a negative way, so that other people that are connected to you don't want to be connected to you anymore. Don't forget, you've still got to maintain your healthy, happy relationships, and you've still, Yes, you can share that some things are rubbish in your life. Yes, you can say it's negative, but don't constantly be sharing all that all the time. Remember that you're there for the other person that you're connected to. The connection's a two-way thing, you know. You need, like, light can't happen without dark. Dark can't happen without light, you know. You need some light in your life, and so do those other people connecting to. And actually, one of the best ways of helping yourself in life is to help other people. Like, if other people are going through rubbish in their life, try helping them out. Try the people that you're connected to. Try helping out, because it makes you feel better about yourself. It'd be like, well, this person may be horrible to me. You know, they obviously don't like me or don't need me or don't want me or making me feel bad about myself, but I can help this person out. And that makes me feel good because I feel valued, you know, I feel valuable to that person. You know, I feel like I can really help them, really make a difference, and I feel like I'm a valuable person, not just for myself, but for some other people as well, because I'm helping them have a better life. I'm helping them to feel like, you know, hi, how's everything with you? How's everything going with you? You know, like, lovely to talk to you again, you know, and you're kind of forgetting all the negativity. If you, all you do is say all the negativity all the time to the other person's going to want to disconnect from you, and, you know, and because you're not going to be healthy for them anymore. Do you see what I mean? And also, you don't want to be talking about all that negativity you've had all the time, because it's just going to keep you in that negative state of mind for hours and days later, and you're never going to be free of it. Do you see what I mean? So, hope this video has been useful, helpful, and insightful for you. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It's been a long video, but I think it's been a very good one. I hope you got a lot of valuable information about it, all different types of relationship. I find a lot of complainers are not thinking of blessing. Exactly, Heather. I'm very blessed to have you, Heather, in my life. Thank you for being on this channel. Very blessed to have Michael. Thank you so much, Michael, for watching me on this channel. So blessed to be friends with Martin. Thank you so much, Martin. So blessed to be friends with Andy, who I know watches his channel as well. I could give shout outs to loads of people. Levi sometimes watches his channel as well. But we know he's a really good friend. So thank you all. Very, very blessed to have you. Good night, Michael. Good night, Heather. Good night, Martin. Good night, anyone else who's watching. Thank you so much, Martin, for watching. Thank you. Thanks very much. You're welcome. Take care. Brace your quirky and each other's. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button now. Hit that bell icon to get notified every time I go. I will post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Thank you so much, Heather. Take care. Bye. Bye.